Today, we're going to get into something we all deal with: disagreements. There's moments that can either pull you apart or, and this is the really cool part, actually bring you closer. So, what if every single argument was an opportunity to build a stronger connection? Let's dive in.
I know, it sounds a little crazy, right? We're usually taught that fighting is bad and we should avoid it. But let's be real, conflict is just a part of life. So the real question isn't if we're going to argue, it's how we're going to do it. Is it going to be a wrecking ball or could it be a building block?
Now, these rules we're talking about today, you've probably seen them floating around online, and there's a reason they're so popular. They just work. This isn't some magic pill, but it's an incredible roadmap. We've broken them down into two main pillars to make them super practical.
Okay, so our first pillar is called taming the fire. This is all about what to do when things get heated. Think of these as your emergency instructions for when you're right in the middle of a tense moment. The goal here is really simple. Just stop things from escalating. Before you can even think about solving the problem, you've got to contain the fire. So these first rules, they're basically your relationship's fire extinguisher.
So here they are, the first set of rules for taming that fire. You can see the theme right away, can't you? It's all about de-escalation. Simple stuff on the surface, like don't yell, don't both be angry at once, and for goodness sake, don't bring up old stuff. But some of these are about a much bigger mindset shift, especially that one about winning. Wow, this one is tough because it goes straight for the ego. So much of the time we argue because we want to be right. But this rule asks you to choose something else, to choose peace. It's about deciding that the health of the relationship is way more important than scoring a point. And this example just nails it. That first one, I told you so, that's all about blame. It's a me versus you battle. But the second one, it completely flips the script. It immediately becomes us versus the problem. You're a team again, just like that. Oh, and here's another classic trap we all fall into: bringing up the past. The moment you say you always do this, you're not talking about the trash anymore. You're attacking their character. By just sticking to what's happening right now, you keep the problem small. And most importantly, you keep it solvable. All right, let's move on to our second pillar. If taming the fire was all about playing defense in the moment, building the foundation is about playing offense every single day. These are the habits that make your relationship strong enough to weather any storm. And here's why this is so important. When you practice these habits, you're building up this huge reservoir of trust and goodwill. So when arguments do happen, and they will, you're starting from a place of strength. The fights just don't hit as hard because the foundation is rock solid. So these are the foundational rules. Things like criticizing with love, putting each other first, admitting when you're wrong, and saying something kind every day. You see, these aren't about fights at all. They're long-term investments in the health of your connection. Let's zoom in on this one, because it's huge. A real apology isn't just muttering sorry. It's a two-step move. First, you have to admit it. I was wrong. That shows you actually get it. Then, you ask for forgiveness. That step gives them the power to close the loop and repair the damage. You absolutely need both. Criticizing with love. This is another absolute game changer. Just look at the difference here. You never help is an attack. It's going to put up a wall of defensiveness instantly. But saying, I'm feeling overwhelmed, that's sharing your experience and inviting them in to help. It's an invitation, not an accusation. And finally, please don't underestimate how powerful this is. Just one kind word or compliment today. I know it sounds so small, but it's like putting $1 in a savings account every single day. Over time, that small habit builds an incredible wealth of affection that you can draw on when things get tough. So, how do we make all of this stick? Well, it really comes down to understanding that these two sets of rules play very different but equally important roles. And here's how it all fits together beautifully. You've got your taming the fire skills on one side. That's your reactive game plan for when conflict pops up. And on the other, you have your foundation building habits. That's your proactive work to make the relationship so strong that fewer fires even start. You need both. It's a 1-2 punch for a healthy connection. So really, the biggest takeaway here is this. A relationship with no conflict isn't healthy. It's just quiet. It means people aren't being honest. The point of all these rules isn't to stop arguing. It's to transform your arguments from these destructive battles into productive and even connecting conversations. And that brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with. As you look back over these rules, which one is the easiest for you to say, yeah, that makes sense, but the absolute hardest for you to actually do? Because just knowing that, just admitting it to yourself, well, that's the first step to actually changing things for the better.